it's Rich. Good morning. I'm in a different city than usual. This is West Los Angeles, Westwood, near Sunset and Church Lane. And this is a different bike than I usually have. I'm out here on a family visit and found out that you can rent a motorcycle from Eagle Rider almost as easily as you can rent a car, and for a cost that's within striking range of the cost of a rental car, although a little more. And so I'm on Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200, which is quite a bit bigger engine than I've ridden before. The bike is a little heavier than the Royal Enfield that I ride daily in New York. It's about 550 pounds compared to 420 pounds. But that's not enough to really make a difference in the way that the weight feels. It does change the handling a little bit. But the real difference between this bike and the bike that I ride in New York, other than the the fact that it has quite a bit more power, is that the center of gravity is lower, which it's 6 inches or so lower in the seat, and it's a heavier bike, and the weight is on average lower than on the Enfield, and more stretched out, so it sits harder on the ground. And I haven't quite figured out exactly what that means in terms of handling difference. I do know that I'm handling it a lot more gently than I handle the Enfield. The Enfield I can basically just push into a turn and it goes. This one I'm officially, explicitly countersteering a little more often, especially in curves that are longer and tighter than the ones that these gentle ones that we're riding right now on Sunset Boulevard. This, incidentally, is the stretch of road where I first drove a car when I took driver's training, because I took it a bit further up here at Marymount High School, and I thought these curves were terrifying. Whatever it was, 30 years ago. Now of course I'm used to them. The gearing is different. I'm in first gear and second gear a lot longer, and that took me a while to get used to. I kept shifting too early, and the motor could handle it, but it didn't like it. And on a bike like this, you just have to get accustomed to the fact that it's going to be revving higher in city traffic and running louder in city traffic than what you would experience on a bike like the Enfield, where on a regular basis I'm in second gear before I clear an intersection, and in third gear shortly after. I think I'm going 45 miles an hour right now, or at least I was a minute ago, and I think I'm in third gear. So, it's a tolerably familiar kind of ride. It has a lot, obviously, it has more than twice the engine displacement, which means it has quite a bit more power when I need more power. But the kind of riding I've been doing, you rarely need a lot more power than you have. I haven't been out on the highway yet with this. I wanted to make sure I could handle it at city street speeds without any trouble. There's Marymount. That's where Mr. Blotter took me out in the driver's training car all those years ago. So, I'm having a good time on this bike. I've just had it since yesterday and haven't really been anywhere yet other than up the Boulevard corridor from the bike rental place down near LAX to the hotel. And this is, I have to say, people talk about New York traffic being, a horrible experience, but there's nothing so frustrating than sitting in traffic that creeps from one traffic light to the next on Sepulveda Boulevard for 8 miles, trying to work your way up the west side during the evening rush. It's just awful. because you're trapped. And I'm here on a motorcycle, breathing fumes. Unlike New York, no one's in any particular hurry, so they don't close up the gaps in traffic. So you're sitting here annoyed constantly. And on top of that, because of the way this thing runs, and I'm not as automotively inclined as probably some of the people who are listening to this, but it smells like the gas doesn't burn as completely as on some other bikes. So you're in a cloud not just of exhaust, but of exhaust that stinks of gasoline. And so you've got to really be in the mood to be out on a motorcycle to do commuting here in city traffic. Whereas in New York, you never really move that fast, but you're also not stopped that often. So I'm going to kill the camera, and at least I'm going to kill the narration. And when there's something interesting to point out, maybe I'll point it out. And there's something right there, mayoral election sign. There's a runoff coming up between Wendy Gruhl and Eric Garcetti, two experienced city officials, either of whom would make a great mayor. And I don't think we know which way it's going to go. I think Eric was the lead in the in the first round, but not by enough to assure him a win in the runoff. Someday I'll stop and buy a star map. There's an Eric sign. Buy a star map and visit the former homes of dead movie stars, because I doubt those star maps are updated more than once every 20 years. That curve we just went through, I enjoy that one even in a car, so it's even more fun on a motorcycle. And we're coming up on the, oh no, here's that house with all the art. We're coming up on the Beverly Hills city line. Speeding a little, but I suppose I might as well behave while I'm on a motorcycle in Beverly Hills. If you're gonna get a harassment speeding ticket, it's just as likely to be here as anywhere else. There's a house that looks like a museum. Yeah, see, I'm in third gear at 35, and it doesn't like it. So back down to second. Like, it'll do it, but it's cough, cough, cough. You got to be on the far side of 35. On the left, the Beverly Hills Hotel. On the right, what is that park called? Is it Will Rogers? Oh, you know what? We're gonna do a little side trip, just a few blocks. through the residential streets of Beverly Hills. I got a downshift. I can't just coast through in a too high gear like I can in the Enfield. Boulevard, the old post office, which is being turned into a performing arts center by the city of Beverly Hills. And this is what I wanted to do. The ride through the palm trees in honor of Woody Allen and Annie Hall in there. The convertible scene where they're riding along, he's riding along gaping at the wonder of this. I think it's even this actual block, or stretched a couple of blocks where they shot that. So I like riding along here even in a car, just for the, not just the Woody Allen symbolism, but the palms are pretty majestic. They're the tallest young thing that you ever see in California. There are taller trees here, but they're much, much older than these, because these are, at most, what, 75 years old if they're original or whatever. Gonna flip the visor down. That may improve the sound for you. And we're back at Sunset Boulevard. Like, I gotta downshift to first gear to do things. That's not a problem I have on the Enfield. trees. It's very hazy day today. There's a chill in the air, so it's mostly sea fog, not air pollution. But visibility is not great. This might be where they shot the Woody Allen, the Annie Hall scene, because this is a narrower street with maturer palms, and of course they were going the other way. But a reverse tribute is just as good as a forward tribute. Doesn't want to be in third gear until you're going 40 miles an hour. I think I passed up Beverly Boulevard, did I? Yeah, that's it there. Is there a left turn? There is. Advantage that I just noticed of a heavier, lower bike is that because the weight is down toward the ground, because I weigh a lot. I weigh more than well over half, or I guess at least half what the well over half what my Royal Enfield weighs. So on my bike. On that bike, and its center of gravity is also higher. So on that bike, the overall center of gravity of a bike and rider is higher, which means this is my sort of basic physics talking. When I start to lean on the Royal Enfield, the bike leans very fast. Whereas on this one, because the weight is lower down, it doesn't fall over as quickly. I mean, by fall over, I mean lean beyond the point of recovery, or threaten to lean beyond the point of recovery, which makes it incrementally easier, or at least feels like it makes it incrementally easier to ride it at low speeds. I mean, at very low speeds, you lose it. But I just did that very tight turn at Beverly Boulevard in Santa Monica in a way that felt easier than it would have been on my other bike. So here's the interior design district of West Hollywood. Yeah, I wanted to be on one side or the other of that crack. And there's Cedar Sinai, the gargantuan hospital. This cancer center here is where my grandmother, who was well over 100 years, spent 25 years coming in every Wednesday morning as a volunteer to help attend to the emotional needs of people undergoing chemotherapy. Beverly Center, big enclosed mall, which when it opened almost 40 years ago, it was such a departure that people weren't sure it would be successful, but it helped consolidate the vitality of this whole neighborhood. I've stayed there at the Elan Hotel, which promises a modernist experience it doesn't quite deliver. And up there on the right is our destination, which is the Kingsroad Cafe. On the left. So that's it for this this part of the ride, but I'm sure I'll have more to say later. If I can get the thing in neutral, then I will turn the camera off. See, this bike's got the same problem that my bike has, which is sometimes you need to let the clutch out to get it down all the way. There we go. All right, killing it now.